Good Vibes fans? Welcome to episode 5 of season 7 of the Good Vibes Show by me, Jerry Hoy, part of the Special Chronicles Network. So, a few interesting things I did this weekend, just to let people know this past weekend, is I bought myself a new desk chair in which you may briefly see the back of it pop in and out of the in and out frame if I turn my head a certain way, as you can see. Those who are watching this video, those who are listening, yeah, I bought a new desk / gaming chair from Staples, and it's a it's very comfortable, by the way. It does bother me a little bit that I have to sit a certain way to prevent it from actually showing up in the shots of these videos, but I can work around that. And it's okay, cool. So it makes it kind of cool every now and then you see like, hey, he has a nice high back chair and such. So just to let you know, that's going to be happening quite a bit in some of the future episodes of Good Vibes when I move my head a certain way and such. So on to today's positive upload. No, very first for today's appreciation and support vibes goes to office supply stores, and obviously I'm choosing Staples because of my new gaming chair, which I'm seeing right now, and you can see it's the back of it popping in and out and such. It looks kind of funny and such to do it that way, and also trying to make it not show up in frame is kind of hard in the episode, but office supply stores do need a lot of appreciation and support vibes because one, they provide a lot of businesses with what they need, a lot of offices as well. And Staples, Home Depot, or the two I can think of right off the top of my head. Staples, obviously, I love the guys as much as I do. Home Office Depot is pretty good as well. But I think what people don't realize with these office supply stores is they deserve a lot of appreciation and support because one, they actually had to deal with COVID during during the pandemic, which obviously it's still technically looming to some degree, obviously to some, but it actually allowed people to actually adapt to doing home office work and everything, and also getting upgrades for a lot of cool things as well and such. So there are a lot of cool things that happen and such. So one of the unique things made from doing this, from these office supply stores, is obviously furniture, obviously, but the correct supplies needed to work from home and such. So they deserve a lot of appreciation and support for getting us for all this time and such. So now, before we get into our positive updates, here's our ad from our sponsors, the Special Chronicles Network. This Good Vibes Show is proud to be featured on the Special Chronicles Network. Visit specialchronicles.com for links to follow on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Be sure to also subscribe to the newsletter and find the podcast page for this podcast. If you love the Good Vibes Show, then you love the art podcast on the Special Chronicles Network. Specialchronicles.com for links to subscribe to our podcast, newsletter, and to follow us on social media. Yeah. And to support the podcast on Special Chronicles so we continue our mission of giving respect and advice to people with special needs, visit specialchronicles.com/give to make a gift today. So for today's positive update is do it yourself. And obviously I did DIY build some of my own new chair here, obviously, but doing things yourself I think is like, sometimes I recommend doing it for certain things. I wouldn't say don't do it for home improvement because you might want to actually have a professional in there. A lot of other things as well, but do it yourself means do things that you can do yourself and actually prove that you're capable of doing it, and they're very fun to do. So I know it sounds very cliche while I say that and everything, and it's all fun and games and such. So, but I do want to admit though, the do-it-yourself stuff is kind of fun. Obviously, do-yourself, build your own gym type thing. That'd be one I can think of right off the top of my head. That's one I can think of, obviously, but doing it yourself also means you can actually improve yourself as well in your skills and doing things. So I think a lot of people take for granted our skills that we have and do it and work with it. So it's kind of fun to think about it, that do yourself often means refers to DIY things, but also doing yourself also means just doing things to make yourself feel better, get better, and improve yourself better. So I just want to note that to you folks, that one, you can DIY a lot of things, and some things you shouldn't DIY at all. I recommend not doing that and everything. So FYI to that. So first of all, don't do it yourself. Things you should do, certain things that you're comfortable doing, and maybe a little bit on edge deal. But beyond that, just be careful when you do DIY stuff because you don't know what you're gonna do to damage things. So, but that's pretty much wraps up today's episode. First things first, I want to remind you all that I'm wearing my Sounds Like Autism shirt right here. So thank you, Josh and Dave, for that. I want to recommend doing the Don't Wait for April campaign that Sounds Like Autism does, because this month is Autism Acceptance Month, but autism acceptance should be year round, not just one month, obviously. And just reminding you folks that, obviously. So Here's our ad again from our sponsors, the Special Chronicles Network. The Good Vibe Show is proudly featured on the Special Chronicles Network. Visit specialchronicles.com for links to follow on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Be sure to also subscribe to the newsletter and find the podcast page for this podcast. If you love the Good Vibe Show, then you'll love the other podcast on the Special Chronicles Network. Visit specialchronicles.com for links to subscribe to our podcast, newsletter, and to follow us on social media. And to support the podcast on Special Chronicles so we can continue our mission of giving respect and voice to people with special needs, visit specialchronicles.com/give to make a gift today. And remember, Good Vibes fans, remember to follow the Good Vibes Show on Instagram at Good Vibes by JH, Facebook.com/Good Vibes. Also subscribe to the Good Vibes Show by me, Jerry Hoy, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Obviously, I still have a ton of podcast things out there. I think I'm probably slowly inching the 350 listens, so that's that. So I thank you all again for tuning in for episode 5, and tune in next week for episode 6. Have a great weekend, everyone. Have a weekend and everything. So until next time, everyone, peace out, blah, blah, and have a great rest of your time, everyone. Bye, everyone.